So good morning. Today I want to talk a little bit about working with stress, even when we have every good reason to be stressed out. Sometimes it takes a toll on us. And it's the body's way of trying to alert us to difficulty, possible danger. And yet it can interfere with things that we're trying to do, with our sleep. So it's important to know that the mind, the biological, there's a neurobiological basis for our tendency to worry or stress about things. And that is that the lower part of the brain is all about identifying threats, obstacles, challenges, and working on keeping us safe. So the good news is that we tend to stay safe and we tend to survive threats that are present in our environment. And the bad news is that it's hard to turn that instinct off when we need to focus or rest. So to overcome that bias that we have in the brain about focusing on problems, it can be helpful to turn our attention to things that are pleasurable, or things that we appreciate, or things that we feel grateful for. A gratitude practice is a really healthy thing, I think, and maybe in the morning or before you go to bed at night, think of all the things that went right in your day. Think of all the things that you are grateful for, things that you enjoy. So I'd like to lead us now in a short exercise in contemplating contentment. So let's take a good posture with a straight spine, feet flat on the floor. And this is a way of grounding ourselves. When we take that nice posture, have our feet on the floor, we can feel the ground. You can also do this in a laying down position or standing up, whatever feels most comfortable for you. So let's just take a moment to rest here in our good posture. Take a few deep breaths and then just let the breath settle into a normal rhythm. You can lower the eyes or close the eyes if you like. And now I invite you to bring to mind something that is very pleasant or pleasurable for you. Maybe it's holding your cat in your lap, or going for a nice walk in the woods or in the mountains. It could be taking a nap, that feeling of rest and relaxation, or taking a nap with someone that you love. So take a moment to bring to mind something pleasurable like that you want to focus on. Could be a special environment or a nice activity. Something that you really enjoy doing. Now that you have the activity or environment in mind, see if you can recall how it feels in your body to be in that environment or in that state. Where do you feel it? How do you experience it? It may be just an overall feeling of well-being. It might be a relaxation in areas that we often hold tension. It might feel like an open heart. So just bring that memory, that sort of muscle memory to mind and rest in that. Other thoughts may come up and just acknowledge that, touch them lightly, and then go back to this contemplation of well-being or contentment. So we use our thoughts to recall this situation. For me, I think about holding my cat, and I keep going back to those words, holding the cat, holding the cat. And then once I have located that feeling in my body, I can let the words go and just rest in that feeling. So try that if you can. Just let the words go. Return to the sensations in the body. Rest there. When you notice that the mind has wandered off to something else, just gently come back to resting in this feeling of contentment, relaxed enjoyment. And now let's bring this to a close. Bring your attention back to the present moment. You can wiggle your toes, open your eyes. Sometimes it's helpful to tap the body a little bit just to kind of reintegrate. So let's take a moment now to talk about that experience. How did that feel for you? So I hope you enjoyed that contemplation of contentment. And this is something that you can do when things get tense or stressful in life. And I also want to mention the fourth foundation of mindfulness. This is our fourth class in this series. And we started off with mindfulness of body. The body is a good anchor as well as the breath for us because it's always there for us. And so that's a good way of getting out of our conceptual mind that can sometimes get into a spin. So we ground our attention in the body and use that as a way to be mindful of the present moment. The second foundation is mindfulness of life. It's kind of a shorthand for survival, and the breath is an excellent anchor for that. The third foundation of mindfulness that we talked about last week is mindfulness of effort. And that kind of goes back to, it actually takes some effort and some discipline applying our intention to train the mind so that it doesn't run away, so that it doesn't spin in ways that are not helpful or to our work or to our well-being. And it really does take a steady effort and a little bit of discipline to pay attention to what's happening and begin to sort of train or tame the mind into doing what we want it to do. So the fourth foundation of mindfulness is mindfulness of mind. And this is probably the most difficult, and that's why it's the last, but this is actually what we do in moments of meditation is we take an object of attention, maybe it's the breath or counting the breaths. It could be an object that we're looking at. And we just keep bringing our attention back to the object, and then we notice what's happening in the mind. We notice our habits or our tendencies. Maybe we go back to memories, worries, things that are on our to-do list, things that we've done wrong that we regret. Whatever it is that comes up often in your mind stream, we start to become familiar with that. And as we talked about in the very first class, it takes an attitude of great friendliness to oneself, not to beat ourselves up about what we notice or to try and punish ourselves or get discouraged. But we're just noticing what's happening in the mind stream. And then if it doesn't fit with our intention for that moment, then we just gently bring it back to what our intention is. So that's mindfulness of mind in a nutshell. So we train on the meditation cushion. And I realize that this is not a meditation class, this is a class in mindfulness, but I just want to share with you that is the approach for mindfulness of mind, is to begin in this kind of guided meditation like we did today. And then we just notice what comes up in our mind stream. And there's a great story I love that a Zen teacher, Robert Aiken Roshi, talked about, where he spent a week in meditation, and afterwards all the participants were talking, how, what was the experience like for you? How did it go? He said, this was when he was in his 70s, he said it was a very difficult time of meditation for him, even though he'd been doing it for decades. And he said he spent an inordinate amount of time arguing with his dead mother over things that they had argued over in the past. So, like things that may have happened when he was a teenager. And that can be the nature of mind sometimes. It's just to go back to old worries or old moments of difficulty and kind of comb over them. And it happens even to very seasoned meditators. But the point is to pay attention to what's going on there. And then just by the very act of having some attention on that, some awareness of what is happening in the mind, then we have a choice. Then we can choose to redirect our attention, redirect the mind, or just take a breath or go for a walk and do a fresh start. So, any questions about mindfulness of mind? So we have a few more minutes. Let's return then to our contemplation on contentment. So once again, take a nice posture with a soft front, strong spine, feet flat on the floor. You can lower the eyes if that's comfortable for you, or close the eyes. And go to that place, that environment or memory, that experience. Just bring to mind in your body, actually, bring to your body awareness the sensations of that experience. Once you have that sensation, you can drop the words and just rest there. Know that you can always return to this sensation, this feeling, that it is part of you, part of your intelligence, it's part of your being. And once again, let's bring this to a close. You can wiggle your toes, open your eyes, tap the body just to come back into the present moment. And know that you can do this on your own whenever you have a few minutes. I like to start the day with that, and then it's something that I can return to during the day. Just really drop into that sensation of pleasant physicality.